Hello everyone. In this video we will discuss about female reproductive system. How exactly the egg is being produced and what happens to the egg, how it is being fertilized and how the baby formed. All this is going to be discussed in this session. So let's move to the main part, that is female reproductive system. It is said that female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries. Okay, please remember it is a pair of ovaries. Two ovaries, one to the right, other to the left, and it is said the female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries, a pair of fallopian tube. You can see two tubes here, hence they are said to be fallopian tube, that is pair of fallopian tube. Then you have one pear-shaped structure which is said to be uterus. Then you have a small opening here which is said to be cervix, and then you have vagina. Okay, so the female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries, pair of fallopian tube, uterus, cervix and vagina. Now let's talk about the structure and function of each and every part of this system. So we first discuss about ovaries. Ovaries are, you can say, balloon shaped structures attached to the uterus on both the sides, and this female reproductive system is also present in pelvic region. As we discussed that the male reproductive system is also present in pelvic region, in the same way female reproductive system is also present in pelvic region, that is your lower abdomen, or you can say hip region. The function of ovaries is ovaries produce egg which is said to be the female gamete. So the female gamete is being produced by the balloon shaped structure which you see. They are known as eggs. In addition to this, it produces female hormones which is known as progesterone and estrogen. So there are two female hormones responsible for secondary sexual characters. We discussed in the earlier session what is secondary sexual characters, right? A development of breast, growth of hair in the armpit, pubic region, menstruation, etc. are the changes which you see, or are the secondary sexual characters which you see in females. So these secondary sexual characters are produced when the egg releases a hormone, that is estrogen. Okay, in addition to this there is one more female hormone released by egg, that is progesterone. So function of egg is release of egg, function of ovaries is release of egg, and progesterone and estrogen, that is a female hormone. Right, now let's see the diagram. This egg, once produced, has to enter the female reproductive system, right? It cannot be here in the balloon shaped structure. If it is here, is the sperm going here, or the egg is moving into the female reproductive system, is what we will study now. It is said that the egg has to move into the fallopian tube, and then only the sperm will enter the fallopian tube and fertilize it, and the zygote will be formed. Okay, so how is this egg which is produced in this balloon shaped structure entering the fallopian tube? So it is said that here you have finger like structures. So if I draw some word here, suppose this is your egg, okay, and here the fallopian tube at the end will have some finger like structures, and then there will be a fallopian tube. Okay, so you will have a finger like structures on both the side, and there will be a fallopian tube. So this finger like structures which are present are said to be fimbriae. Okay, these finger like structures which are present at the end of the fallopian tube are said to be fimbriae. And what is the function of this fimbriae? As soon as the egg is formed and it matures, the fimbriae catches the egg. The fimbriae catch holds of the egg. It is released from the ovaries. Who will catch them? It will be catched by this finger like structures, and this finger like structures will, after receiving the egg, will send the egg into the fallopian tube. Okay, so the structure of this fimbriae is catching hold of the egg. Okay, fallopian tube is a tube-like structure connecting your ovaries to the uterus. One more interesting thing which you have to remember about fallopian tube is a place where fertilization takes place in human beings. Okay, so please note this point as important point. Fertilization takes place in fallopian tube. So the sperm from the vagina will go upwards, and it will come and reach the fallopian tube. And if the egg is there in the fallopian tube, it will fuse with the egg and then the zygote will be formed. Okay, so the sperm has to travel all the way from the vagina to the cervix to the uterus and go into the fallopian tube to fuse or meet the egg. Okay, the egg and the sperm has to meet together for the baby to be formed. So the penis will release the sperm in the vagina, and then the sperm by itself travels into the cervix, uterus and the fallopian tube. And at the time when the sperm is in the fallopian tube, if there is egg inside the fallopian tube, then there will be mixing of egg and sperm, and there will be formation of zygote in the fallopian tube itself. Okay, so what is the function of fallopian tube? Carrying the egg or receiving the egg from the ovaries, and secondly, fertilization if the sperm has by chance entered the female reproductive system. So please remember, fertilization takes place in fallopian tube. If a female has a problem in the fallopian tube, she will have problem in fertilization and giving birth to a baby. Okay, we move to the next point. It is said that is all about fallopian tube. Now uterus. Uterus is said to be a pear-shaped muscular organ. Okay, it is somewhat pear, the fruit pear which we eat, right? It is somewhat that shape, and this lining of the uterus is said to be endometrium. Okay, lining of uterus is said to be endometrium. So uterus is a muscular organ. The inner lining of the uterus is said to be endometrium. So basically, if you speak in general language, it is said to be the bag where the baby is held or hold for 9 months, or the mother holds a baby in a bag-like structure inside the body for 9 months. So what is this bag-like structure? This bag-like structure in biology is said to be uterus. This is the place where the baby is present for 9 months. Okay, and this inner lining is said to be endometrium. Now what is the function of this inner lining? It is said that once the egg is released from the ovaries and reaches into the fallopian tube, this endometrium lining starts becoming thick. Okay, it starts increasing in size. The endometrium lining starts increasing in size. Now, the question which arises to my mind is, why is this endometrium lining increasing? It is said that the endometrium lining is increasing to receive the fertilized egg. If the zygote is being formed in the fallopian tube, it has to come and attach somewhere. It is not attached in the fallopian tube. It has to come and attach somewhere, otherwise it will come out from the vagina. So this attachment of the zygote takes place in the takes place in the uterus or endometrium lining, which has become thick. Okay, so this endometrium lining becomes thick to receive the fertilized egg. And once the fertilized egg is being received, it fixes it into this lining, and this fixation of the lining of this fixation is said to be implantation. So implantation is another important term. This is basically fixation of the zygote. Once the zygote or the sperm and the egg has fused, the zygote is being formed, it has to fix somewhere, otherwise it will come out from the vagina. So this fixation of the zygote takes place in the endometrium, which has become thick, and because that process is known as implantation. Okay, once the zygote gets implanted, it gets converted into embryo. Embryo slowly and steadily gets converted into baby, and the baby gets its nourishment from the endometrium lining through a special tube which is said to be placenta. Okay, so suppose this is your uterus, just a rough diagram, and suppose I draw a baby here. Imagine this to be a baby. The baby has to get the nutrition. So from where will the baby get the nutrition? This is the endometrium lining of the uterus, which has become thick. So what will the baby do? The baby will form a tube like structure which is connecting the baby to this endometrium, and this tube like structure is said to be placenta. Okay, and this placenta will take the nutrition from this endometrium lining because it is richly supplied by blood vessels. And as you know, blood vessels have lot and lot of energy, lot and lot of nutrients. So this nutrients will be absorbed by this placenta and given to the baby. Baby will grow, increase in size, become mature, and finally will come out from the mother's body to vagina. Okay, so while you read about uterus, important terms which you have to remember is implantation, placenta, and endometrium lining. Okay, next part, that is importance of cervix and vagina, we will discuss in the next session. Thank you.